Happy Sunday, my friends. Do you hear the sound of the internet screeching? Do you hear all the wailing, the weeping, the gnashing of teeth? It's something that we really haven't heard since November 2016. Remember that fun week where corporations were sending out emails saying they could take days off because they're so sad about the election? Oh, yes, we are in that spot again. It's a lot of fun. I'm having the most fun of my life just watching Twitter and watching the freak out. It makes me so happy. But people are freaking out at me, and for once, it's not over politics, and it's a lot of fun. Let's get into this in just a second. My name is John Delarose. If you're new here, I am a #1 best-selling science fiction author and an award-winning comic creator. I've got Overmind on Kickstarter right now. And if you appreciate books with attention to detail, with a nice world building that's consistent, with a good editor who's actually going to make sure that I don't make any errors, this is the book for you. You can see we've already got $20,000. This is our most successful Kickstarter ever. And it's resonating. People really want a return to the great science fiction aesthetics of the 1940s, 1950s. You know, when America really was looking out towards the stars, having that sense of wonder, where mankind was like, we can build anything, we can do anything. And we weren't sitting there just freaking out over identities on the internet. This is what quality science fiction is. Please go to the link in the description below and back this today. It's going to be better than Star Trek. Oof. Yes, and that's our topic of today. So I was reading an issue of Star Trek. I'm a big Star Trek fan, if you guys don't know. Obviously a big science fiction fan in general. Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek. I've watched the series, 3 or 4 times, maybe more. And so I picked up this one-shot comic, which is called The Mirror War, which IDW is coming out with. And this actually takes place in the Mirror Universe for Deep Space Nine. So I wrote an article about it on Bounding Into Comics. And I just pointed out just how bad the continuity issues were, how bad the setting issues were for Star Trek. An editor should have caught all this stuff very easily. This is just a 22-page book, and it's got this many errors. But Heather Antos just seems to be on the internet freaking out about abortion and threatening Supreme Court justices with their lives, rather than actually doing her job and maybe watching Star Trek so she knows what she's talking about. It's really sad. And that's exactly what these SJW professionals do. They can't actually focus on their work. They can't get things done. They're so busy freaking out on the internet all day long that they just overlook their jobs. And for some reason, companies like IDW promote them anyway. I'll just go over the basics here. People on the internet, once I posted this article, were going absolutely nuts at me, shrieking, "Alt right!" This has nothing to do with politics, my friends. This just has everything to do with the fact that the editor, the senior editor, could not actually make a decent Star Trek comic book that follows Star Trek continuity. And we'll get this into this in a second. I mean, I think the art is not the best. I mean, for a couple reasons. The coloring really is splotchy, especially on Benjamin Sisko's face throughout the entire book. It's like they tried to use his dark skin and highlight it too much, and so they just kind of splotched it out in spaces. But and of course, he looks like he's like 17, 18 years old here, which he's not at this point in the series, but that's aside from the point. Gosh, look at that hairline. It's just really weird. Anyway, they seem to fail on that level, but that's not the most egregious part of this stuff by any stretch of the imagination. One, I found a typo early on in the issue, which they actually highlighted in bold. It's one thing to have a typo, but when you have the name Intendant, which is what Kira is in the Mirror Universe, which is where this episode takes place, to have Indendant in bold, and you've actually spelled it, they spelled it right somewhere. There it is, Indendant again up here, but they spelled it right one time on this page. I'm trying to find it again. There it is, Intendant down here. So it's like, you didn't even spell it. You weren't even copying and pasting the word there. You just were screwing it up. So 2 typos, 1 page, major title for the Mirror Universe. Now, the other thing about Star Trek you might know, quickly, is that they use phasers in Star Trek. Those are laser guns. So you see an actual gun with a cartridge where Sisko's shooting with bullets. This is not a thing in Star Trek. It's not a thing in the Mirror Universe. They use phasers in there too. This is just completely against the setting, and it looks like the artist just decided to draw like a modern year panel for some reason, rather than even the clothes are not very Star Trekky. These are very modern. It's just like, this is something editorial should just be like, this is wrong. Easy to fix, but for some reason, I guess Heather just let it slide. Now, It gets worse. They're in the Mirror Universe, and this is Mirror Cisco. For some reason, there's a panel where Mirror Cisco goes to his thoughts and starts to think about Deep Space Nine and the crew of Deep Space Nine who he's never met in uniform. And so this is the main universe, and for some reason it just goes to this panel. I guess they were, trying to make up for the fact that it didn't feel like Star Trek here by adding, hey, remember that this is a Star Trek comic? It's pretty bad. But the next part of this takes place in season 2 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It actually very much is clear where it takes place right before the episode where they actually go to the Mirror Universe in season 2. And Worf doesn't show up on Deep Space Nine until season 4. So even if, for some reason, this person knew the Mirror Universe, or actually our regular universe existed, Worf shouldn't have been there. Again, that's just an easy editorial thing that anybody who looks up a Wikipedia of Star Trek should know. But Heather can't take the time to do that. Another thing, which is actually even more egregious than that, is this Cisco in the Mirror Universe starts flying around the Defiant and shooting people on behalf of Kira in her alternate universe here. Well, there's a big problem with this. There's actually a season 4 episode where the Mirror Universe comes back, and the guy Smiley over there steals the plans of the Defiant, because the Defiant didn't show up till season 3 of Star Trek, of course. And he steals the plans for the Mirror Universe in season 4 because they don't have the Defiant, and they want to have a weapon to fight against the Empire. So this takes place 2 years prior to that, and for some reason he's already got the Defiant, even though they're stealing the plans to do it later. This is, again, just a horrible continuity error. I mean, if you're going to make a Mirror Universe episode, at least read the summaries of the episodes to know what's going on. For 22 pages, this is insane amount of trouble for this book here. But this is exactly what you get when you hire an SJW who's not focused on the work, not focused on quality product, not focused on science fiction, but is focused on her own personal brand, her own personal identity politics freakouts on Twitter.com, so that she can paint herself as a victim so that she can't get fired. This is why you can't hire an SJW even once. They don't care about the books. They are just there to destroy these properties every single time. And for some reason, people are going after me about this. Like, I'm just pointing out the fact that, like, I would have seen this script and been like, this is wrong as a Star Trek fan. It would have been very, very easy to fix all these continuity issues in a 22-page book. That's a lot of issues for a 22-page book. But she didn't even do her job at all. She just approved it, let it go, doesn't even care, and doesn't take care of this franchise. It's really sad to see what they've done with Star Trek all the way around. But when they mess with Deep Space Nine, I take that a little bit personal. As a fan, as a science fiction author, and as a person who's creating a better alternative at this point to anything that they have to offer. So that's it. That's the book. Don't be outraged at me. It's not even political. It's just Heather Antos objectively did a bad job as an editor. Not my fault. I'm sorry. So back Overmind today if you like good science fiction books, and leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Gosh, I mean, why don't they take care of these properties? Is it intentional at this point? Are they trying to destroy it? Let me know. We'll be back soon.